How we doing, guys? Welcome back to the Frugal Homestead. So I have been having requests for people asking about what we mentioned before, which was sifting the compost. And since we're at the seed starting time of year here in March, I thought we might just do a video on that, because that is how we get our free seed starter mix. I don't know if you guys have bought this stuff lately, but it is out of control on pricing. I'm not having it. I don't feel that it actually is that great, because a lot of times it's very heavy in peat, which is great for absorption, but it doesn't have anything on some good compost. So I always start out by kind of turning the pile. The outside stuff never breaks down as fast, and we're trying to get to a smaller level. So kind of getting more towards the inside seems to work better. Now if the pile's too wet on the inside, it won't want to sift as well, so kind of take that to thought. If you come out and flip it the day before, let it dry out, and then try to sift it, that's usually gonna get your best results. So come on over, I'll show you what we're working with. I've got two different styles of sifters I'm using. One's homemade, one's something you can usually find around if you look. And we'll go into those options, talk about how I made them, and then we'll sift some of this compost to make some seed starter mix. All right, guys, I don't like to overcomplicate things. And at about $6 a 2x4 right now, I'm not running out to buy any lumber. I had some old lumber. They were actually studs out of a house trailer we tore down, hence the cutouts. But basically, whatever kind of wire mesh you've got will work. The smaller the holes, the better, to a point. Now for seed starter mix, I like to use this 1/4 inch one, or I mean 1/2 inch one. 1/2 inch mesh seems to work great for making seed starter, but it's a lot of work. You need to know that. The smaller the size, the more work it is. So all I did for mine is I had a little bit of a roll, and it was 28 from my rabbit cages, 28 wide. So I just cut all my 2x4s 22 inches, nailed them together at the corners, nothing special, nothing fancy. And then I attached the mesh. Now I do it different than most. Most people would measure the mesh and cut it and then attach it. I find that it tries to curl up on me a lot. So what I do is I nail down one corner and I work it both ways, squaring the box, tacking it down. I do not go all the way to the ends though. And then I cut it on the two sides and finish nailing the whole thing. Now I just use some Aereo snips or metal side cuts, whatever you want to call them, to cut it, because it's just a simple way to do it. That's the way I did it with my rabbit cages too. It's just so much easier. Now, once you have this attached, you're done. And as long as you keep this inside when you're not using it, it'll last pretty much forever, honestly. As long as this stays dry, this will last forever. So it's a nice tool just to hang up on your wall in your shop. Now I did have to make a new one because I left the old one outside and it rotted. But that said, this is not your only option. There's other options. If you happen to have access to one of these, this is an old like milk or dairy or like grocery store tote with the holes in it. This would be fine as well. This is good for when you're composting for your pots, like what you would use for your potting mix if you're going to mix it in with some peat, say, and some compost, or if you're getting ready to do some raised beds and you really want to make sure you're putting the best of your compost in there, the most broke down, this would be a good option. Built-in holes ready to go. You can kind of find things like this with all different size holes in it. You just got to be on the lookout, especially if you're going and looking, because like this one has a small crack right there. I don't know if you guys can see that. It was being thrown away behind a supermarket, and I can't remember, either me or one of the boys or Missy picked it up knowing just for this usage it'd be great. But it's also really nice to put your pots in this if you need to bring them in at night because you can stack a couple pots in late in the season and then just carry them all in at once and carry them out during the day when it's nice. Just a thought. So you got two options here. Now I'm going to show you exactly how I sift in order to make our seed starter mix. All right, let's not overcomplicate this. So we've got a tote and then our sifting tote on top, okay? We're gonna take our fork, get some from the middle of the pile, throw it in there. Now I suggest not overfilling this because it'll just make it harder. You just shake it back and forth. Then I go back and forth, back and forth. Then you can see all the big stuff that's left in there. Sticks, big chunks. All right. We throw that back on the pile and go back in. And repeat the process. All right. Now what we're left with is a beautiful compost mix. And as you see, there really isn't any huge big things in it. But now I want to show you what my little homemade one can do. So just to start off with, now generally I would use this over a wheelbarrow, but it's just easier to film this. Alright, so now that we've gotten it down, you can see that what's left is kind of bigger chunks. And as I stated, this stuff's pretty wet still. You'd probably get it to break down more if it was dried out more. And it's okay to leave it on this and just spread it out and let it dry in the sun for an hour or two if you've got a sunny day. But we get rid of that. Look at that, guys. Look at how little that is. That took moments. And that's enough probably to do an entire tray of those little 1 inch by 1 inch starters. That's how quick and dead free. And I promise you, this stuff will make those young healthy plants take off. Those seeds will come up because it holds the moisture. See the way it packs? And see the way it loosens? So it's got enough resistance to hold the seed and encapsulate it. It holds moisture, that's why it packs. But it also breaks up because it's so fine to allow that young plant to come up through. Simple way to make your own seed starting mix. Very healthy, all organic mix. So whether it's a leaf compost or this is a wood chip base mixed with manure, you know, whatever you use, you know, any kind of plant matter will work. Start composting. Now we do have a trammel or trommel, whatever you want to pronounce it, where it spins and sorts the compost, but I'm working on upgrading it. So right now this way works, but in the future we're going to need more volume, because in a very soon upcoming video you're going to see how serious we are about doing large scale compost. Because I got a multi-bin composter I'm getting ready to build, and I'm going to bring you guys along. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't be afraid to take a moment and sift out your compost pile and make your own seed starter. If you feel it's not nutrient rich enough, Look at something like a fish fertilizer, mixed super thin for starting plants. Feel free to add that to your liquid. That said, hope you guys have enjoyed the video about making your own seed starter. If you haven't already, and I'm not exactly sure why you wouldn't, go down, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification button next to it. That way you see all these upcoming videos, especially the ones on the compost and the starting of the seeds. Make sure you hit the like button for us. It greatly helps our channel, puts our channel in front of more eyes, shows the YouTube algorithm that you guys are enjoying this content. And guys, with that, I've got a compost pile to turn, seeds to get in some dirt. I'll see you guys in the next one.